Hey everybody, welcome once again to another episode of the Cougar-licious Clubhouse. We are so glad that you stopped by. And remember, this is the show where we feature women who stand in their own power, celebrate the divine diva, and enjoy a little eye candy. And tonight we have a very special guest and some very special eye candy for you, Mr. Guy Fessenden. Yes, Guy Fessenden. He is a local comedian, and we're going to be talking tales of comedy. We're going to be talking about all the different things that you do, all the ranting retired baby boomers and all the things that the ranting retired baby boomers do. So stay tuned and we're going to have a great time. But as for me, I'm your host, Donna Joy. And as most of you know, I've earned a doctorate in education. I had a great career and I became independent. And a lot of people say, well, isn't that good? You've got that can-do attitude. Well, can-do's got nothing to do with it. It's really more of a kiss my assets attitude, because I've heard talk like, you'll never get a job if you don't know how to type. Well, I've had my own secretary, thank you very much, and he was adorable. Take it away.
Cougar-licious, in my power I rise with every step I take. I light up the skies, celebrating me. I'm a star shining bright, enjoying all the eye candy under the moonlight. Oh, Cougar-licious, watch me take my stand, grooving to the beat. Come and take my hand.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Yes, that's right. We are here. We're back and we're getting ready to rock and roll with Guy Fessenden. But before we do, I first want to say thank you to all of our subscribers. Thank you all for subscribing to the channel. We keep growing every single week. Be sure to hit that like button and subscribe, and you'll never miss an episode. And I'd also like to thank our sponsors, and we keep growing by that every single week. We have Laurel Caprio from Caldwell Banker. We have Mike Abrahamian, who's has a tax firm, Ledgerly, who helps to watch your small business grow. We've got Web and Funnel, which is a web design and management company. Absolutely brilliant people to work with. And when you want to relax, we have the Huddle Brewing Company, right in the heart of the Arts District. Yes, our friend Lisa Hamilton, go see her for your next special event. And of course, we have Linder Health Skincare. Linder Health, it's healthcare for your skin. I've been using it for years and I just love it. When you go on to linderhealth.com/Donna, order some product, they'll send you a free gift. It's just like saying Donna sent you. So anyway, now that I've got my housekeeping taken care of, I'd like to welcome our guest, Mr. Guy Fessenden.
Thank you, Don. Oh, yeah,
Whoa.
Let's get that going on. Well, at least
Yes,
I earned it.
Brilliant.
Awesome.
I tell you, we're very high tech. Welcome, Guy.
Thank you, Donna. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's so much fun having you. I've been trying to get you on the show for a while.
No?
Yeah. So we finally made it happen.
On a Monday,
I love it.
yes.
On a Monday, yes. That's when we're recording this. So anyway, Guy, I just think we should just start from the beginning. Where we first met. It's been a while.
Okay.
Let's talk about this.
The Comedy Institute of Las Vegas.
That's right.
We were getting schooled.
That's right. By who?
We learned from the master, Mr. Don Barnhart.
Don Barnhart. I love Don. I just really want to get him on the show at some point. He would be a riot.
He would.
But so what, where are you from and what made you go to the Comedy Writing Institute?
So I'm originally from New York, got married, and my wife had horrific migraines, so she said, I need to live in the desert because of the humidity. You pick the desert. So I said, okay, which desert has Elton John? And we ended up in Las Vegas.
Oh, okay.
So it was awesome.
And how long ago was that?
Oh, about 9 years.
Okay, so it was right around that time, because it was about 8 years ago that we were at the Institute with Don.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I had gone through some surgeries and come to the realization I wasn't going to live forever. So you pull out the bucket list, and right at the very top of it was do stand-up comedy.
And how were you influenced by that? Did you do? I mean, you're from New York, so you must have gone to a lot of different clubs back then.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, and hung out with a couple of people like Robert Klein,
Really?
who was brilliant. Yeah, yep. I learned a very important comedy lesson. We were walking up the street one day, and he was telling me about his daughter, who was 6 months old, going to France with her mother, who was an opera singer, for 6 months, and he was going to miss her. And I said, "Well, how do they do passports? Because they're good for 10 years." And he's like, "I don't know," and we just ignored it. And then I turned on his HBO special 6 months later, and he's got, somebody in France looking at a passport going, "This is not you." And that's when I realized comedians get something from every minute out of their life. You just have to be looking.
That's right. That's right. You have to be observationist. An observationist, is that a word? Yeah, observational comedy.
It's your show, Donna. Whatever you want the word to be, that's the word.
Yeah, well, Jerry Seinfeld is a great observer of human nature, and I agree. Sometimes, do you ever like to sit there like in a mall or something and just watch people, and then just try to figure out their story? Yeah.
I used to do it in Grand Central Station.
Oh, I'll bet you got a lot. You get a lot of material.
They
there.
have some drinks. You have some drinks. You come up with some great backstories.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. So Robert Klein, you knew Robert Klein. That's amazing, and especially back in those days. I think you're probably talking the 80s. Yeah, because comedy clubs were very big back then.
Huge. So different from now.
Right. You had to go to a club to really see the comics.
Right.
I know I first saw Robin Williams before he really made it.
Yeah.
He was just doing the circuits, and I saw him in San Diego. I saw him in La Jolla at the Comedy Store in La Jolla, and I will never forget it. To this day, I will never forget that night. I mean, he just burst into that audience, and within seconds you were on your knees laughing. It just tears just coming down your face. You were laughing so hard.
Yeah.
And when I talk to young comics today and I ask about their influences, they automatically go to Netflix. They say, well, they saw it on television, they saw it on video or whatever it was, the Netflix thing. And I think that there's something lost by that, because when you're there and you're experiencing it in person, you have that extra dimension or something that really drives you.
Right.
And well, we'll talk about this maybe a little bit later, but I do see a significant difference between comics who are of a certain age versus the comics that are coming up today. And that might be maybe what part of the little bit of a difference is, you know?
And I think younger people today like their comedy delivered to them in shorter sets. Give me that 5 minutes on YouTube, whereas we were used to going and seeing an hour and a half in the comedy club.
Right.
So it's a very different type of act when you're doing it over an hour and a half versus 5 minutes. Where you got to get out there, you got to, you don't get to warm to the audience, you don't get to really ease into your material. You got to dive in because you're done before you know it.
No, I mean, to that note, I remember seeing George Carlin, several times. I was a huge Carlin fan. And there was this one time he came on the stage and he just sat there. He just sat there and looked at his watch, and he had a cup of coffee or whatever he was drinking. And he said, "I'm doing what everybody does when they first start their job," and it just killed. It just killed just by doing that. You had that relationship, that interaction with the audience, and of course, he went on with his act, for the whole thing. But yeah, I think you're right. They go for little condensed bullets.
But you know why? Because they're the Sesame Street generation. We weren't brought up on Sesame Street. We were brought up on long form.
Yes.
Sesame Street came along when people were being influenced to how long their attention span is, and said 1 minute.
You're right.
And that rolled all the way through.
You're right.
Yeah.
I mean, we had the Mickey Mouse Club. I remember the Mickey Mouse Club.
But it was a half hour of kind of a continuous show that had continuity, that had a script.
Songs and dances and jingles and things that you could still sing the Mickey Mouse song in your head today, which kind of like my Cougar-licious jingle. It kind of gets in your head and it just kind of stays there,
Mickey Mouse and Cougar-licious.
It's just the same thing. So getting back to the Comedy Writing Institute, we were both schooled by the great Don Barnhart. Don Barnhart. And you have a little story that you started to share with me, your first memory about getting on stage.
Yeah.
And
Don ran the Comedy Institute and then also owned a club called Jokesters that at the time
Right.
that we met was being performed nightly at the D. And Don would take some of the better performers or further along in the class and invite them periodically to do a set on a professional stage. It was a big deal.
It was a great way to get started.
It was a really big deal. And so I was talking to you and one other person after class, and he came up and he was all excited about, hey, Donna, you want to do next Tuesday at Jokesters? And everybody was like, yeah, Donna, go for it. And then he looked at the person next to you, and he was a little less enthused. And he said, so you want to do Wednesday? She's like, yeah, I'd love to. All right, great. And then he looks over at me and it's like, crap. But he's such a nice man, and he doesn't want bad feelings or anything like that. So he gave me an opportunity, and then he gave me another one, and it just grew from there.
And then, yeah, you really rolled with Don. You know, you still are. You're still performing at Delirious, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now there's a couple of locations. We continue at on Fremont Street, and we also have an opportunity to perform at Silver Stars.
Oh, wow.
Which is really cool. Yeah, so we're
Now, what nights are
just
these?
off the Strip. Silver Stars is comedy at 7 o'clock Thursday through Sunday, with a 9 o'clock show on Friday and Saturday. And there's also the House of Magic at the early show at 5 o'clock, and same times down at Hennessy's on Fremont Street. And it's a smaller venue. It's intimate. It's a lot of fun. People say that when they've spent time at that particular venue, and then they go to like a 10,000 person arena to see Seinfeld or someone comparable, that it's kind of a disappointment because you lose the intimacy.
Right.
You know,
Right.
you lose the interaction, you lose the connectivity.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's a big part of what comedy is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, because basically you see, they have the big jumbotrons. So it's just like watching your favorite comic on a great big television screen.
Right.
Even though you could see that they're there on the stage, but, it's not the same thing as actually being in a club where you can actually see the people's faces and just enjoy themselves. Yeah.
Yeah. And the interaction goes both ways.
Yeah. I found that especially when I was at the Ahern. The Ahern had a beautiful showroom, and still does have a beautiful showroom. But it was the same thing. Your audience is like right there, and the intimacy is very key.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about your adventures. I mean, what would you say is the highlight? The highs, the lows, the in-betweens? Any?
I guess the excitement for me has come in two steps. The first is learning not to fear the audience. Were you like that in the beginning? Were you afraid of the audience?
Absolutely.
And it's like, oh my God, what if somebody heckles me, or what if somebody takes me out of my routine, or something like that. And then you realize that the overwhelming majority of people there are there to have a good time, and they're rooting for you. And then you can take a deep breath and say, okay, what if are the two most dangerous words in the English language, and I'm not going to do that anymore. And in Vegas, it's interesting because you get up on stage, and I do a lot of opening the shows, and you get up there and you don't know who's there. Because Las Vegas is a tourist town. It's not like, if you go to Tucson, Arizona, you're going to get a Tucson crowd.
Right.
You know what you're in
Right.
for. You know the politics, the reactions, you know what they like, you know what they don't like. But in Las Vegas, you could have a bunch of Republicans one night, a bunch of chiropractors, a bunch of nuns. You have no idea what the composition of the job is going to be. It's interesting when I was opening for magic shows, and then I realized now I understand why they don't really have comics doing opening, because a lot of the audience are people that don't speak English.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, and they come for the magic. That transcends language. But when you're trying to do comedy, and you're like, $3, same as at the pier. And they just look at you because they don't understand the language. It's really hard to open for magic.
I remember one time, I was at Jokesters, okay, and it was one of Don's shows. And I don't know. Before the show, you sitting outside, waiting to get into the venue, and I struck up a conversation with these two ladies who were sitting at the bar. Well, they were having a little too much to drink, and then they found out that I was in the show. So they bought tickets and they came into the show. Well, they just sat in the front and they were just...
Yeah.
And I has to go, shh, 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 shh. I got to do I'm working now.
Right.
I'm working now. No,
We'll
we
talk
know
later.
her. You got to come down to so. Yeah, okay. And I think that was probably my biggest experience in heck. Really can't say it was heckling. It was just like they just thought they were just, they were with their good buddy Donna, because they were talking with me, outside in front of the show beforehand. So it was like, yeah, we're best buddies. Oh my God, it was incredible. It was too funny. But yeah, you're absolutely right. When you're going into, especially when you're first starting out, I think you have so much that you're thinking about. How do I deliver it? What is my voice? I think that was probably one of the most challenging things in my comedy, was finding my voice, and then that's how, the Cougar-licious brand, really got started, because of the receptiveness I was getting from the audience from it, that I knew it was resonating, and you're talking about women standing in their own power, and it's something that really connects, with women 35 to 65, from what I'm seeing. But finding that voice, how would you basically define your voice in comedy? What do you say? What do you think they would say?
It's difficult. We're a couple of old white people.
Yeah.
There's not that much we can say without getting in trouble. So we can make fun of ourselves, self-deprecating humor. We can do a lot of stuff, but we can't punch out like many other people have the opportunity to be able to do. So a lot of my stuff is relationship stuff, and the challenges of day-to-day relationships.
I like this one joke that you say, something about the 70s. You saw Mick Jagger in the 70s. What was that joke that you did? And
I saw Mick Jagger in the 70s, and then I also saw him in his 70s.
In his 70s, yeah.
Not a lot of people can say that.
That's right. That's right.
Because that means you went over like a 40, 50-year period.
And that's what I call boomer humor.
Yeah.
It's really something that only the boomers can get, at this stage of the game, because the boomers, we're the old people now.
Right.
Yeah. But I also know that you have a very interesting background as well, before you got into comedy, and you still are very much involved with nonprofits.
Yeah, I have a bunch of things that are important to me that fill up my day, and the most important is that for the last 14 years, I have run a small not-for-profit agency out of New York called Choice of New York, which provides services to people who are mentally ill and are just having a hard time negotiating how difficult the system is, and that would include getting Social Security benefits or job benefits or housing or whatever, medical help, whatever it might be. Sometimes the system, for everybody, is just daunting. But for people who have a mental health diagnosis on top of it, it's almost impossible. So this particular agency gets involved. We have about 200 people. We see about 3,500 people a month.
And you say that's grown since the time you founded.
Yeah, it was.
Right.
We started at about 110 people a month that we were helping, and now it's like 3,500.
Wow, a month.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah.
And your staff has grown from
10 to 200.
Amazing.
Yeah, 4 locations, and it's fascinating stuff. And it's important to help people who can't help themselves necessarily, or just need that little bit of an extra helping hand to be able to get a bit more than they could have done on their own.
And you were telling me that New York is kind of unique in its own space.
Blue states are different than red states in terms of how they allocate out resources for a particularly vulnerable population. In many states, people are complaining, we want to get the homeless off the street because we don't want to step over them.
Right.
Right. In some states, they're like, we don't want homeless on the street because they're real people who have real stories and have real needs, and we want to help them. And depending on where you live, there's a different allocation of resources.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. And who sets up the allocations of resources?
The state at the state level. So they will get a bunch of money. Their Medicare, for example, is like the highest in the country. The amount that's spent on Medicare and Medicaid is more than, I believe, any other state. And 50% of it's from the state, 50% of it's from the feds. So it's a shared thing, and that means you can be vulnerable to other people's agendas, like right now is going on at the federal level. You don't know day to day what's going to change, and all you do know is if it does change, it's not going to be for the better.
Well, yeah, with this, like you said, with this particular, administration's attitudes. But no, I agree. I agree with what you're saying. I mean, in terms of, really helping the populations. And I'm sure you have a lot of success stories out of this as well. I mean, sure. I mean,
Sure.
it's
You take people that have been dealt a very hard hand in life, and you work with them, and it could take several months or more to help them to be able to get a predictable income through benefits that they didn't think they could get, and then to be able to take them and get their first apartment ever in life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and then there are other agencies in New York that collect furniture from people when they're moving, and they have a warehouse hangar out by the airport, and people can come, because once you get an apartment, you got no furniture.
Right.
Right, and then you get a bunch of furniture, and the most amazing thing is to be able to see somebody sit down on a couch in their house for the first time ever.
That's fabulous.
I don't care who you are, I don't care how hard you are, how tough you are, you will cry. And it's amazing. And then they turn on the TV, and at that point, they have, in some instances, made the first decision on how to spend money that was variable. Now, all their life they were told, you have to spend for this, you have to pay for this, you have to. And now they've got enough money that they can elect to direct it
Wow.
in an area where they can find comfort.
Wow.
And most of the time, that's cable TV. They get cable TV for the first time, and they are part of a conversation like with other people that isn't based on mental health. Right? I watched HBO. I'm like everybody else.
Yeah,
and I
I've
feel good
watched
about
that
it.
series.
Right.
I'm part of that series.
And it's phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it's
phenomenal.
the little things that we take for granted. So this is for you, Guy.
It's for the 200 people that do remarkable things every year at Choice, every day.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, I want to hear more about that. And I think that, we might be able to work something and do some kind of comedy special or something. That would be kind of fun, wouldn't it? Do a little fundraising there and help the people out there in New York City.
Sounds like a
Why
plan.
not, right? Why not? Oh, my God. Will you take a look? Look at this time.
Oh, I talk too much, Donna. I'm sorry.
No. I mean, you're a comic. You're supposed to talk.
Well, you
It's
said
what
I
we
was
get
eye
paid to
candy,
do. That's
so
right.
I'm sorry to the people who got all excited and then saw, wait a minute, this is a 69-year-old guy that has no concept what a six-pack is.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. We got another. I got to give you another one.
All right. That was a good one.
Yeah, a good one. A lot of applause there. Okay, before we go, I want to just kind of do a little bit of a wrap up. Again, I'd like to thank the sponsors for our show, and if we can bring up, do we have our sponsors page? There we go. Special thanks to our sponsors for the show: Caldwell Banker, Ledgerly, Web and Funnel, and Huddle, as well as Linder Health Skincare. Thank you so much for sponsoring. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, just stop by the website, okay? And we have all kinds of information on how you can be a sponsor too. When you go to my website, you'll start with the home page, and you'll see that if you sign up for our newsletter, you get a download of my little book, Too Short to Be a Showgirl and Tall Tales of the Vertically Challenged. So that's a free download that you'll get, and you'll get a newsletter every single month, and with all kinds of special goodies in it and all kinds of special announcements. Then we have our page that actually features our Cougar-licious Cub House show. Some people ask, how do I find you on YouTube? Well, just go to the website, go to the TV page, and you can just click that button and you can watch our latest show, and that's where you can subscribe too. Then we have our events page, and on our events page you'll see all kinds of listings of places that I'll be. This particular event I'll be at, it's a private event on the 26th of October, and again, if you have a special event, I'm certainly available to come and host, MC, do a set. Would love to do it. Next along, we have our online store. As you can see, we have our wine glasses, we've got our Cougar-licious coffee mugs, we have t-shirts, we have crop tops, we've got panties, Cougar-licious panties, who can't live without those, along with our tote bag, and we've got several other items too. We've got hats and all kinds of goodies that are happening. And when you sign up for the newsletter, you will receive discount coupons so that you can go onto that store. And when you do order on the store, it does include shipping and taxes. So all the pricing includes everything for you. So you don't have to worry about anything like that. So anyway, I'd like to thank Guy Fessenden. He's a real fun guy, isn't he? I had to say that.
You did.
I did. I had to. Sorry. I'll leave now. And I want to thank you all again for stopping by. So good to see you. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Cougar-licious in my power.